for the first time, we actually had one of our sessions in this group of 6 women where we each talked about what triggers were coming up for us in that group in a
Wow.
safe way, totally owning our own emotions, taking responsibility for the trigger, not projecting and not taking things personally, but saying, look, this is what's come up for me, and this is my need around it. And I'm not expecting all of you to accommodate me, but in simply sharing, this is a sensitivity for me. This is something that I'm working on. This is maybe an insecurity that gets triggered. At least the rest of them can be aware. And it has helped even us drop into another layer of safety and, yeah, feeling okay to voice these things when they come up.
Hello, friend. I just wanted to let you know about our guest coming up here today. Ashmi Pathela is a writer, artist, and visionary guide for this unprecedented time of global ascension on Earth. Her words, courses, ceremonies, and workshops have touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. Ashmi Pathela is a writer, artist, and visionary guide for this unprecedented time of global ascension on Earth. Her words, courses, ceremonies, and workshops have touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. She is the author of Anchoring the Light, The New Earth Way of Living, Creating and Becoming All That You Are, published by Hay House, Penguin Random House, and Awakening the Heart of Humanity, prior to this recent book. In 2017, she left a thriving career in Silicon Valley to follow her heart. Today, she supports others on the journey of embodying the light of their soul through her writing and online offerings. She now lives in Denmark, Western Australia, with her husband Joel and their son Elokai. You can get Ashmi's new book, Anchoring the Light, on Amazon or any major retailer. We'll put the link in the show notes. And for Ashmi's soul guidance and multidimensional musings, you can follow her on Instagram, which I've been doing for years, and it's so inspirational, at ashmi.path. And again, we'll have that link in the show notes. I can't wait to drop into this conversation with you. I know this is going to be the most incredible transmission. Here we go. Hi, friend. If you've been dreaming about bringing your women together around beauty, truth, and transformation, this is your invitation. At Goddess of Light curated retreats, the heartbeat is the breath. The sacred space we create is anchored in transformational breathwork, infused with Reiki, and organic homemade meals prepared with care, intention, and love. These retreats are designed to melt armor, restore nervous systems, and awaken the deep knowing that's been waiting just beneath the surface. I offer 3 powerful ways we can co-create. Drop-in facilitator. I join your retreat to lead one potent breathwork and Reiki session or ceremony. This is the perfect way to elevate an already beautiful gathering with deep energetic anchoring. Full weekend presence. I stay with your group throughout the retreat, offering guided breathwork, Reiki, meditations, energy support, and presence, woven into every part of the weekend, including cacao ceremonies. Full retreat facilitation and production. I create the entire retreat for you. The space, the chef, the rhythm, the healing, all of it, every aspect. You gather your women, I hold everything else. This is for leaders who want to nourish and be nourished. For those who know it's time to come together and want to do this with elegance and ease and soul, this is for you. If your heart's been calling for this, you can reach out to me, siri@sageblushwellness.com, or DM me on Instagram at Siri Baruch Thornton. Let's create something unforgettable. Welcome to The Authentic Creative, where we expand our capacity to feel good, one deep breath, one bold choice, and maybe a little bit of magic at a time. I'm Siri Baruch Thornton, healer, creative, and lifelong explorer of all things energy, self-expression, and joy. With over 26 years of experience in Reiki, Akashic Records, and transformational breathwork, I've learned that feeling good is not a luxury, it's a practice. And sometimes it's a little messy. This podcast is here to help you trust your intuition, break the rules, the ones that need breaking, and live more fully in your gifts. So give yourself a deep breath, get cozy, and let's dive in. I'm really delighted to be here with Ashmi. I just want to start by saying something that I said in our grounding and running energy that we just did, which is that I think it's fascinating that you are across the world that it is my tomorrow where you are, that I'm in your yesterday, and that I'm in fall and that you're in spring. And yet here we are.
Mm.
I mean, that just blows my mind. And yet we still think that when we're in our 3D way of thinking that time is linear. And as you know, and you teach, it's all infinite. It's all now. It's all present.
Mm.
It's all possible. And what I love about your work, because I've been following you on Instagram for a long time, is your awareness is like not only it's just above and beyond. Clearly, these are transmissions, and also you are so grounded. You are so present. You are so humble. You are so of this body. And that to me is what your newest book is really about. Your last book, so much about opening the heart and being in the heart and the wisdom of the heart. And then this book is like, let's integrate, let's anchor, let's be ascended, but also be in our body. And so much I feel like of the movement of the spiritual growth movement is this embodiment movement. It's no
Mm.
longer just talk therapy anymore. Yes, some of us are on that talk therapy path, and that's wonderful. But we're so much about anchoring in this light,
Mm.
not just ascending. So thank you for inspiring me, continuously inspiring me, Ashmi.
Thank you so much, Siri. I really felt that. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's really about how can I walk in my knowing in this life? You know, we know all these spiritual concepts, but how do we actually feel it and know it in our bones and live from that space where there is the doubt part of you, the mind that's so noisy, the part of you that's drawing into the old template, the past programming, that part feels so loud in our day-to-day challenges and, you know, the busyness of every day. But how can that become quieter and quieter? And how can I start really living from and as my soul as source? This book that I wrote does capture that journey of embodiment, and I really feel like more people who have been on the spiritual path for a while are really hungry to feel it and know it in their bones and really feel the shift in their frequency, their reality, where they're coming from. And I've really been living it and applying it moment by moment in my life at a whole new level since becoming a mother. And yeah, there's a lot we can go into, but I'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I think that it's really interesting that where you are is in Western Australia, right? And that is such a powerful landscape of ocean and forest and sky. And I've never been there, but I imagine that the energy there is ancient and alive, and that may be part of why you've chosen to root there. And I'm just
Mm.
curious, because I've never been there, why you've chosen to root where you are and
Mm.
how that's informed this book.
Yeah, there's so many answers, but one, it is energetically where I'm meant to be. I really believe every soul is exactly where they're meant to be for their highest expansion. And we, whoever resonates as light workers, way showers, we're really scattered around the world. There's a higher guidance to where you end up. And I couldn't have foreseen this, you know, even 5 years ago. But I fell in love with my husband, or rose in love, as we like to say, when I met him in Bali, and we had a long distance relationship. He's from Perth, Western Australia, and me being an American from California, it felt so Mm, exotic and far away, and at the same time so familiar and right, because synchronistically 10 years before I met my husband, I'd studied abroad in Western Australia, which is very rare for Americans. Like usually you go to Sydney or Melbourne, but yeah, I was in Western Australia 10 years before I met my husband, and I'd already felt like home in this beautiful landscape. The energy here feels very grounding. And the people here that I've found have been really aligned, like soul tribe. And yeah, just deep down, I knew, even though it's so far, even though it means I have to leave all my friends and my family to be with my love, it also felt like this is my other home and this is going to be home. And it made that leap so much easier. And then the leap into the countryside, because we've now moved 5 hours down south. Um, yeah, we live in the forest, we live on 55 acres of land, um, tall, magnificent cherry trees, eucalyptus trees with kookaburras singing in the morning, and it really
Building a
feels like
sanctuary there, yeah? You're
yeah, it really feels like a piece of the new earth, like a beautiful frequency here. And we realized in the last 5 years, my husband and I are both journeying on this ascension spiritual path together and reflecting and mirroring and really dropping into the inner embodiment. We needed this much grounding space in nature. Not about the acreage, it's more about just spaciousness to be and hear ourselves over the noise of the world. This was the perfect place for us to do that and explore that, and it has held us so beautifully in the last few years.
And did you speak Japanese? Were you born in Japan?
Yeah, yeah. I'm half Japanese. So I grew up for 5 years. I lived in Tokyo and Kobe. I was born in Singapore, grew up in Japan. So I've lived all over the world. And I guess it's part of my soul to want to travel and, yeah, explore different parts of myself that are activated in different countries. Like I feel like I become a different version of me when I'm in Japan. Speaking to my grandma, the Japanese side comes out. So yeah, it's really fascinating to explore the landscapes of yourself and your own soul's expression as you visit different places that call to you, whether it's countries or just places in nature.
I feel so connected to Japan. And again, I have never been there, but Reiki is something that I've taught for pretty much my whole life, just about. That is obviously very much originated in Japan. And then I've been practicing Nichiren Buddhism for 17 years, and that is a Japanese form of Buddhism. And so
Mm.
I really feel that I was there in a past life, and
Yeah. Wow.
curious, your spirituality must have so much infusion from that Japanese culture, the way that you've learned to
Mm.
maybe
Mm.
meditate or be present or tap in spiritually. I'm curious about that.
I love the artistry of the Japanese culture, and it's infused in how everything's set up, how people live, the architecture, the tiny details of how they package every little sweet and dessert, and the craftsmanship that comes in. Even just growing up I was 2 years old, and my favorite family restaurant was this yakitori place, skewered meat place. And it was run by it's like a one-man shop, 5 seats, a tiny little table. There's no room there. My grandparents have been going for years, so they just know us. And then the owner passed it down to his son. So it was like a real family restaurant. And just the love and artistry and the just magic ingredients they use. There's just nowhere else in the world that tastes like that. I can still taste it in my mouth, even though I'm like mostly vegetarian, pescatarian now. It's just infused in this nostalgic memory that I have of, yeah, the beauty of Japan, the love for artistry and detail and slowing down and being. And if you go into the countryside, you'll feel that even more.
That
Ah,
intention.
the hot springs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Okay.
so magical.
You were just sharing about that you can still taste it now. And I'm so
Mhm.
curious with your downloads and the codes that come through and your insights. Do you taste the insights? Do you see the insights? Do you see color? Do you just have the embodied knowing? Do you
Mm.
see the words? Everyone perceives so differently. So, for one of my teachers, Dr. Linda Howe of the Akashic, she only perceives through knowing. For me, I perceive in like maybe 6 different ways. So, it's so different for everyone. And I'm just so curious how these knowings, these codes and the transmissions, how do they come through? Because they're so evolved and yet so grounded. And every time I read something of yours, I'm like, how does she know what's exactly going on? I'm sure you hear this all the time.
Yeah, well, this is such a good question because early on in my path, and this is not that long ago, like 6 years ago, I would see people who say, I'm channeling my spirit guides or I'm psychic and I saw this vision. And I felt so envious because I never saw visions. I never really felt like I'm clairvoyant or clairaudient. And even just, I felt envious that they could get messages and answers from their spirit guides. That's something I felt like was a mystical, like extra magical power. And what I realized was my way of connecting actually feels like my own voice, my own knowing, only very calm, grounded, expansive. And I have actually been tapping into that since I was a young child. And it's nothing special. It feels special from the outside because people are like, how do you do that? But I really believe everyone has this ability.
Yes.
And for me, it came through journaling. So at the age of 8, yeah, at the age of 8, I started journaling. I really loved writing, and it was my therapy. Going through hard times in my childhood, I would write all my angsty, preteen emotions. And at the end of the page, there would be this voice of comfort or this calm reassurance coming through. And it was me reassuring myself, but it was my higher self, or perhaps a future version of me coming in. And I would feel so much calmer after writing. So I kept that journal habit up for about 5 or 6 years. That was, now I realize, automatic writing. But now, what I do with my messages on Instagram and the posts I write, it started off the same way as my kind of journal. So I'd have my notes app on my laptop and I'd just write whatever was coming through. And the parts that felt really powerful or good, I would start sharing as posts. But they were all messages for me from my higher self. It wasn't like I was thinking, okay, what kind of content would the audience want to consume today? Or, what are people going to like? Or what's viral? Like, I didn't think at all that I was building a brand or business at all. It was just my artistic expression and love for channeling spirit into form. The love I feel when I'm connected to my soul's knowing, the expansiveness and the sense of arrival I feel when the words come through, and the joy of that, and making it look pretty and putting it out, even that's the artistry. I just loved it. And that's why I was able to keep showing up to my page, even when I only had 200 followers and no one was really commenting, or I had to get a negative comment. A lot of people start feeling discouraged at that point of like, oh, well, no one's going to read it. What's the point? Imposter syndrome comes up. I was, paralyzed in the fetal position, feeling so vulnerable, like vulnerability hangovers after every post. But the reason I kept showing up was it wasn't for that external. It was for my own, yeah,
Your
connection.
process. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
want to pull up a quote from your book that's on your Instagram that I loved, just recently looked at. And it says, one day you will see that all of your lifetimes of thinking you aren't good enough, hating yourself, and thinking you are small have served you. They've served you because even when you felt at your worst, you never stopped looking for your light. Even when you felt utterly lost and in despair, you never stopped reaching, oh, I'm going to cry, for love, for yourself, for more of yourself. And now you are remembering you have never been truly lost. You have never been alone. It has only felt this way because the density you exist in creates such a convincing illusion of separation. And this realm has felt unbearably heavy and hard for humans. Now you are remembering and coming to know the oneness that you are. And this is the ultimate gift. It is the opposite of what you have endured across eons of lifetimes. You have been carrying the deep soul despair of not knowing who you are or what you're meant to do when you have been it all. But how could you appreciate all that you were if you didn't know what it felt like to experience the polar opposite? Thinking you are nothing, thinking you are alone in the dark, thinking something's wrong with you, thinking no one likes you, no one loves you. Now you're stepping into seeing the light in yourself and becoming it again, embodied in this physical form. And because of this, all that you are will forever be changed. You are creating a new level of depth and vibrancy to consciousness that will ripple out across all space and time, all dimensions. It is your human experience that has added this depth to the fabric of consciousness, this depth that allows love to expand even more. It is you and all that you have been across all your lifetimes, especially the lifetimes where you felt the farthest from your light. It is this life you are living now. This is what is changing consciousness forevermore. Ah!
You know what I realized when you were reading this, and I never thought about it this way? This isn't just a channeling of me downloading that from my higher self outside of me. It is so potent because it's my higher self embodied in me and my human speaking, because I can only write about that, the depths of despair, feeling like you hate yourself, feeling like no one loves you, because I felt it to the core, and I can remember how alone in the dark I felt when I felt that way for years, and it's because of the pain I have walked through, especially from age, I'd say 11 to 16 was the hardest times, but I still feel that energy come up sometimes, and
Same,
it's
Ashmi.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel you.
It's because of that that I could tap into the compassion for humanity, because what I feel is sometimes we reach for these spiritual messages and, the beautiful light, and it is very loving and high frequency, but it kind of forgets the pain and the validity of the shadow and the beauty of the human experience and the courage it takes to be here. And I really wanted to keep that element and hold that with so much honor. And that's why you can feel it in the book. Yeah, I just got that. Yeah.
I love it. 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 The contrast, we have to have this contrast of light and dark. We have to have, that's why we're here in the body, right? Is to feel all of it. So, expanding our
Mm.
capacity to feel good is the subtitle of the podcast here. And really, what it means is expanding our capacity to feel. And
Mhm.
it's so interesting because for so long, we've been trying and we're still trying to ascend. And what you're doing with your book and with your work is like bringing the heaven and the earth together and meeting us with all of the ahas and all of the insights and all of the revelations and all of the downloads and codes with that heart of humanity and and the reality. And that's what we're hungry for. Like you
Mhm.
said, that's what we're craving. You also spent time in Silicon Valley with like a tech startup. And so that's very different in a lot of ways from what you do now. And I'm
Mhm.
curious, that bridge for you, when you look back at that period, I mean, you have all these lifetimes, right? You have Japan and then all of your travels. You have the time before your travels at the tech startup. And then you have now where you're like expanding out onto this huge land with your love and your child. So for people who are living a more like 3D life, but maybe they're like wanting to tap into our world of what the kind of work that we do, what was that bridge for you?
Mm. It does feel like I've lived many lives, but even though I've, experienced lots of things and traveled, the greatest journey was also always within. And you don't have to travel, you don't have to quit your job even. A lot of your outside circumstances in life will change, your reality will change as a direct reflection of the shift in your frequency, because your reality is your holographic projection. But at the same time, the change first starts within. And right now, I'm really seeing that in the mundane repetitiveness of motherhood and early motherhood, the shifts are so massive, even more like rapid and accelerated than ever before in my life, because your greatest tool for your ascension is in the day-to-day moments of your life. Everything that happens in your life, everything that you notice or feel, everything you're triggered by, every challenge is a gift from your soul for your highest expansion. It's just the human part of us that says, why is this happening? That wants to be a victim to it, that wants to prove, look at how hard I'm working. Can't you see how hard it is? I can't do it. That part of us is holding on to the old template of struggle and lack and fear and worry and overthinking and controlling, because we don't fully yet trust or know in our bones that it's actually all unfolding for your highest expansion and that your soul is creating every moment for you, even if it doesn't feel like it. And how can we shift from this place of being a victim to everything that's happening or feeling sorry for yourself to feeling empowered? Look, I'm choosing this, even this struggle, even this really hard moment. I can choose to get pulled into the stories, the past, the future, the worries, or I can choose to meet the moment just that 1 second at a time. And I do this when my son's screaming in the middle of the night and I haven't slept and I'm worried. How am I going to do the rest of the night? I can't do this. Just come back to meet the moment and empower myself into the moment and shift from this is so hard to maybe something else that feels more empowering. Like, this is my devotion. This is my soul's choosing to expand, to be here with love, to open my heart, to soften. What is it that your soul is calling you towards? And we get to practice this not only when our life is good and everything's flowing, but in the hard moments. This is where you really anchor the light into the shadow.
That's a meditation right there. Go back, guys, listen to that as many times as you need to. I mean, everything Ashmi says is a meditation, right? I'm curious, do you feel that when we're shedding an old layer, an old story, an old programming, that we're going to go through another dark night of the soul each time? Or are there moments that you know where we can graduate from the lesson or from that phase, that chapter, without needing to go through that darker night of the soul or that contrast? Does that happen for you? How does that work?
Yes. So I love this question. There is a period where the healing work is necessary and part of it. But for a lot of us, that is actually over. The healing part, the suffering through, the thinking I need to heal more or fix more, you're done with that. The only reason you feel like you need to heal more is you are feeding and buying into the lies your brain is telling you that you're still stuck or you're still not healed yet or you still need to do more. So for those who have already been loving themselves through the emotions, really bringing awareness to the triggers, you've done this for so long, and now you can step into the next empowerment of, I don't need to go into the story. I don't need to analyze why this is coming up for me. Where is it in my childhood where it came up? You don't need to do that inner child healing even. You will know if it's something so big and it's still coming up. Maybe you need to do it, but you'll do it in the moment. And simply through the light of awareness, seeing it, noticing when you're shrinking into your human lack, fear, victimhood, whatever it is. You'll notice it and then you can decide in that moment, nope, I don't consent, or I'm not going to feed this. That's my old self. That's in memory. That's my old self talking. And when you can really see it, there's a clarity that comes and you'll actually shift your frequency and expand out of that with so much more ease. When before you would get lost in the story and the spiral for hours and hours or days, you can actually shift it within a couple minutes, maybe even just 1 minute. And I'm playing with this, like giving myself permission to realize that, yeah, my suffering is done the moment I choose to stop feeding the stories of suffering and getting lost in that. And when I start empowering myself to know I can shift. Remember you are source. You remember you're everything. Remember you're choosing this. Remember that those old stories do not serve you. My new mantra is, I let go of all that does not serve me. And when I notice I'm in it, like, this isn't serving me, and let it go. And it's actually easy and hard at the same time. It's hard to kind of let go of your stubbornness and your pride of wanting to hold on to, but can't you see how hard it is? And I'm the martyr. That's part of you that wants to suffer. Like, we don't realize it. There's a little part of you that wants to
Yeah.
prove, yeah, wants to prove how hard it is and wants to prove that others should, give you some validation for that. When you let go of the need for that and give yourself that acknowledgement and validation, you realize, okay, it's not giving me anything anymore. It's not serving me to play small. And that's over. And you can shift faster and faster. And this is the light at the end of the tunnel, realizing that the expanded state of feeling in your heart, connected to source, connected to your higher knowing, all that you are, that becomes more and more your default state. And so when you notice the thoughts or a little challenge comes up, it's so much more obvious to notice it and shift back. And it's like muscle training, muscle memory, training yourself to stay in that aware, expanded state.
Thank you. There's so many modalities that I've used over the years. My favorite is breathwork and Reiki. I couldn't really choose between the two. They're just so powerful and potent for different reasons. And then I also have the Akashic records that I teach people how to do. I'm curious, you said journaling. I know nature is important to you, connecting, going inward, being creative. I'm curious, do you use the breath? Do you use breath work? How do you use it? How does it inform your work? I know you do cacao ceremony. I was on Zoom with you for a cacao ceremony with you and your husband before you had your baby, before you were married.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was so beautiful, those meditations. But I'm just curious, like, what's feeling the most alive for you that's really just bringing you to your most you right now? Is it the journaling?
I don't really journal as much anymore. So things have shifted for me where I used to use those practices because they're so beautiful. And, breath work especially, it's been so amazing, even just to come back to my heart and center. But they're becoming more subtle and integrated in my day-to-day life. Yeah, it's not like I religiously follow one thing. I need to do this practice every day. It's whatever I'm intuitively feeling I need in that moment, I try to listen to. And it's becoming more and more a living meditation of how I just am. And for me, that really means not just the high vibe spiritual work, but really being aware of what stories I'm feeding, what emotions I'm being drawn into in every moment. I try to bring my awareness to that. So it's just being more aware, being the witness, noticing when I'm trying to control the moment, noticing the subtle ways my brain tries to control, and noticing the fears I shrink into. And I notice it now and I'm like, oh, that's a limiting belief. That's a story. It doesn't have to be true. And all the tiny ways that I hold myself small, even in creating. So I have a new offering coming up, but I'm only creating it when I feel aligned and inspired. And I'm saying no more to creating from force and hustle and it's not going to go well, so I need to push more or any of that lack energy. I'm trying to make it a practice in what I do, from motherhood to business to just living my life, conversing with friends, noticing if a trigger comes up, no longer blaming or judging the other, but really seeing, wow, why is that coming up for me? Why am I feeling judgment or envious of her or whatever's coming up? Is there something in this for me to reflect on and see within myself? Using your entire reality as a mirror feedback loop, bringing you more things to see and feel within yourself.
Thank you for that. I am curious how you relate to teachers. So, in the past, maybe I want to say 2 years, but more recently, maybe even the past 6 months, I've really focused on de-pedestaling mentors and being my own mentor. And you very much come across as someone who is their own mentor. Has it always been that way? Have you had strong mentors? Do you have people that you look to for guidance or advice or coaching? How does that work for you?
I really try to share with my audience to not put me on a pedestal and realize, I'm just another light on this journey and you are a light too. And we all have a piece of the puzzle. And we all are way showers. We all are on the front edge of consciousness and this awakening in a world where most people don't even know they have a soul or that they are a soul. So really seeing the value and beauty of every single person on this journey. But to your question, I have mentors and people I go to for guidance, one in particular who I do phone calls with, but not from a place of I need their support or I need something from them. It's more so I love her embodiment and the way she lives and her frequency. And always our conversations are more like two friends going really deep into the cosmos. It always gives me something to activate me. And that's what I hope to be for others, with my offerings. I also watch some people on YouTube at time to time, but way less now than ever before. And sometimes it's just a frequency attunement, coming back into my heart. Yeah, it's really not from a place of outsourcing or not seeing that I can also guide myself into my own answers. So what I do when I'm really lost is I close my eyes and I have this app that records my voice, any app would do, and I call forward my higher self or source and I ask a question out loud and I speak out loud what comes through. And the more you practice this, the more you're dropped into a meditative state, you'll feel this quiet voice come through and you'll be speaking without really thinking and you'll notice your mind's in the back. And I wrote in my book how to do it, but it's been a beautiful way to again realize I have my own answers and I can trust myself.
Yes, we so need to learn that more than anything. And the way that a lot of our culture is set up is very much external, right? Very
Yeah.
much the opposite of what you're teaching in your book, and very much looking to teachers for the answer or to regurgitate what we've read and studied and show that we can regurgitate that. I'm curious about retreats because I think you recently co-led a retreat. And when you were talking about this guide that you work with sometimes, and it sounded like there's mirroring there and there's girlfriend energy there. And very much the work that I'm interested in right now is with women. These panels every month with these women, and then gatherings, glimmer of goddess of light gatherings, and then those leading into these bigger 3.5 day goddess of light retreats. And my lesson is so much about healing the sister wound, being in collaboration with sisters, being a mirror for our sisters. There's nothing like, oh, another woman that mirrors to you your light, who you are, what they see in you, how they see your power, and then having that come back and like lifting each other vibrationally in that way. So I'm just curious about the sisterhood, working with women, retreats, like anything that you have experienced or that you're learning about that.
It's so massive, the sister wound, and I don't know, I've had it in different ways growing up. I also, for me, have felt like I'm too much for other sisters, or I will trigger them through my achievements, so I dim my light. And or in other times of my life, especially younger teen years, I felt really seen and loved by my parents in childhood through my achievements. So, I thought if I share how well I'm doing, they're going to like me more. I don't know why I felt that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, all these false stories. And right now, I'm very fortunate in the last 6 months. So when I was 2 months, or maybe longer than 6 months now, but when I was 2 months postpartum, I co created a group of mamas who are in soul led business and just a group of friends down here in Denmark, Western Australia. And it started off with my friend coming up with this intention of all have young children. Let's all support each other in our soul path and in actually not balancing, but dancing with motherhood and creation and explore different topics every month and co-facilitate every month and also hold each other accountable and talk about our triggers. And it's been the most beautiful group. We decided to spontaneously create a retreat together for 1 weekend, just the six of us and babies. And I did a cacao ceremony and we all led a different session and we all reflected and created this safe container of feeling seen and held in all of our light, not just as a mama, not just as a businesswoman, but we also have a lot of fun, play, silliness, and a safe place to even talk about what's coming up as a trigger. I've never actually done this in a group of friends. I've done this in relationship, like obviously with my husband, and one-on-one friendships where if something's coming up that you're feeling triggered or you need to voice, sharing it in a safe way when they're ready to hear, to, speak about it together. I've only done it before in one-on-one relationships, but for the first time, we actually had one of our sessions in this group of 6 women where we each talked about what triggers were coming up for us in that group in a
Wow.
safe way, totally owning our own emotions, taking responsibility for the trigger, not projecting and not taking things personally, but saying, look, this is what's come up for me, and this is my need around it. And I'm not expecting all of you to accommodate me, but in simply sharing, this is a sensitivity for me. This is something that I'm working on. This is maybe an insecurity that gets triggered. At least the rest of them can be aware. And it has helped even us drop into another layer of safety and, yeah, feeling okay to voice these things when they come up.
Love
It is really beautiful. Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, just imagine a world of that. Just
Yeah.
circles of women doing that for each other.
And we hold each other to our light as well. We really call out the small stories and we really lovingly support each other into, yeah, really seeing our own light and going for our dreams and knowing that we're enough. And I'm really loving this. And what it's shown me is, we all wait for the community, we're waiting for the new earth. You get to create it in your own community, in your own neighborhood, in your own local town. If you want to experience it now, call it forward.
Yeah, I so crave that, and that's why I've been focused on that. So thank you for sharing that because I think that's such an integral piece of the puzzle. It's not just the ascension and the breath work and the Reiki and the cacao and the cold plunging and the sauna and all of it. And the singing. It is also, let's acknowledge how when we come together, like in the Buddhism that I practice, they talk about the potatoes rubbing up against each other to polish those buds, right? And so I think that's naturally anytime we create community, which you do, and the people around you do, leaders, women, we are going to intrinsically come upon those triggers and those sisterhood wounds and those insecurities. And so I think it's so important what you're saying, leading that example of like, ooh, what if we went a little deeper and we like talked about and owned what our sensitivities and our triggers and our insecurities are, and like not to project, but to just say, here's what's coming up for me. I remember leading a little retreat, one of my first ones, and one of the women saying, like, I really don't do well in this kind of a setting. And I think that's for a lot of women. Usually we gather around alcohol, and that's so normal and natural. For me, that's not my inclination, is to gather around alcohol. I would love to see more of what you're talking about, and then I'm inspired. So thank you. Yeah. So I'm curious, where are you wanting to, you talked about sort of this expansiveness of you and your husband and the land, and we touched upon sanctuary. As we close out our conversation, because I want to be aware of you're a mama and you've got a little baby, and, so I get it. Like, where is your vision expanding to? Where are you feeling the most lit up? What is like a spectrum, a beam of light that you would like to infuse in this end of this conversation?
I'm in this place now where I'm realizing instead of pulling my visions in, even through visioning when I'm feeling good, I'm trying to rest in the knowing that it's already done and it's unfolding even more beautifully than I can plan, and to let go of the mind that wants to know linearly how is it going to work, what's the first step. First, we need to get this, and then we can know what we're going to create. No, it's really a new level of surrendering and trusting that it's already here, it's already done, and I get to feel the frequency of it and live it as a memory of my future self. And I'm playing with that. Yeah. And I loved how we did this guided meditation you did before the podcast recording started. And you asked me at the end, imagine how you want to feel at the end of this conversation and bring it up as a memory or something like that. And I was like, this is so spot on with I know we're going to talk about this because this is how we need to live. There's no time. And that future version of you living your wildest dreams, even that version of the earth that we're envisioning in the depths of our hearts, it already exists because all possibilities exist in this quantum field. And the only thing stopping you from magnetizing that now is all of our human conditioning, our limited thoughts that it's not going to happen, or it needs to take a lot of time, or all these other conditions need to be met first. And
the addiction, like you said, the addiction to the suffering.
yeah. And letting go of that and playing with, what if I let go of all the trying from a place of force and worry and lack, and I just start living and showing up as that future version of me without even trying to, just knowing it's okay, it's all unfolding perfectly. How would things shift? And I want to live that as an experiment in my life. And you asked about our land and all this, and we used to have more rigid like plans and, needs around what we need first in order to start building. But now when I walk into this cabin, I already feel the energetic blueprint of the new home that's going to be here. And when I walk on the land, I already feel the energy of the sacred sanctuary we already have. So collapsing the gap between not having and having, and really appreciating and dropping into the gratitude of what's here already is really helping me. Yeah.
Yes. 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 That's exactly what I want to be doing, Ashmi. Is closing
You
that
can.
gap.
Yeah.
That gap. And it comes, but it's right. It's like, oh, I want to keep coming back to that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what happens when you prioritize that? Because our usual habit is to prioritize our to-do list and everything we need to do. And even, I need to sit down and have a vision board and meditate on it. But what if you could prioritize your frequency at the
Yes.
start of your day for a minute, 5 minutes when you need a little tune up in the middle of your day? How would the rest of your reality unfold and shift as a result of that micro adjustment? Yeah.
Yes. And now the work as mothers is to continue to come into that best frequency whilst they're having a meltdown.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. That's the work.
There's nothing like motherhood and parenting that has been more potent for my spiritual journey, because your children are you. They are a mere reflection of you. And they're not going to lie. They're not going to hide anything. So if you notice, and of course they have their own journey, their own soul, but it has been uncanny how much I've noticed when my husband and I, either of us, are not in full presence, we're in our heads or something's coming up, baby's fussy, baby's crying, right? But when we're dropped into our hearts, present, baby's happy and totally fine. It's like, oh, here's the feedback loop. And of course, they're going to have their teething and their fevers and their shifts, but the amount of mirroring that happens, because, they're feeding off your energetic field. They can feel you. You can't pretend to be present. You have to really be present. Yeah.
I can't wait to see how you continue to transmit all of the motherhood lessons. This is going to be incredible. Thank you for walking the path. It's
It's a lot.
It's big work. And, the fact that you have such a huge mission, I think at times can be crushingly challenging. So thank you. Thank you, Ashmi, for walking the path that you walk, for being the light, for being the source, your own source. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Siri. And this is so amazing. You asked questions I've never been asked before. And it's a testament to the depth of how much you know me and my work that we were able to go there. And thank you for seeing me and my light, and for shining your light in this world, bringing so many beautiful voices and hearts into activation. I really appreciate you too.
I could see your beautiful aura the whole time. It's very strong. Yeah. So where do you want people to, I'm going to put the link in the show notes. So you don't even have to, but if you just want to speak it, where you want them to find your book, your Instagram, it's going to be in the show notes, but
Yep.
Yeah.
My Instagram is where I share most often, so at ashmi.path, ashmi.path, and my website is linked there. I have a new offering coming up in November about creating from your magnetic creation power. A lot of what we talked about today, that magnetism. So yeah, you can find it in the show notes.
Perfect. Love you guys. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good. Thank you for being on this journey with us. What a beautiful conversation. Every time I listen to Ashmi speak, I'm just reminded that light is not something we have to chase. It's just something that we can return to through our breath, through the body, through our presence. I loved hearing about the ways that she receives her messages, how nature and stillness and everyday life all become portals of connection. It just feels so affirming, too, to hear how aligned our paths were, the way breath work and energy work and retreats all serve as invitations to remember what's already inside of us. If you felt something awaken in you during this conversation, give yourself a moment right now to breathe it in, soak it in. Give yourself a little shavasana, if you will, to let your body anchor what your heart knows, that you are the magic and you are already the light that you are seeking. If you would like to experience this kind of connection in person through Reiki, through transformational breathwork, in sacred retreat space, as you know, you can always find me and our upcoming gatherings through Sage and Blush Wellness or the Goddess of Light retreats. You can go to the link in the show notes. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for listening, for feeling, for walking this path of remembrance with us. And until next time, may you trust your breath, honor your body, and continue to expand your capacity to feel good. Loving you. Do you ever feel like you're pouring out for everyone else while your own well runs dry? Do you long for a space where you can stop performing, stop managing, stop holding it all together, and simply be held? That is what the Goddess of Light retreats are for. For 3 nights on the banks of the Sandy River at Mount Hood, you're invited to lay it all down, to breathe deeply, to let the noise fall away, and to remember the part of you that's radiant, whole, and free. You'll be nourished by Chef Marne and the Bastion team with meals that feel like medicine. You'll be opened through sound and Reiki with Dawn's healing vibrations. You'll be moved to tears by the music of Lola Christine and Megan Sky. You'll be held in ceremony, breathwork, sisterhood, and laughter that remind you what it feels like to come alive again with me. This is not just a little getaway. This is a homecoming, a chance to release the exhaustion, the self-doubt, the constant doing, and to walk away anchored in joy, confidence, and a circle of women who sees you. Upcoming dates, March 15th to 18th, 2026, May 3rd to the 6th, and October 4th to the 7th, 2026. Spaces are limited because the circle is intimate by design. If your heart is whispering yes, answer it. Reserve your place. Link in the show notes. Come home to yourself. Come be a part of the light. Today's conversation stirred something in you. Here are a few ways we can go deeper together. So the Authentic Creative Podcast, where you are now, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss more conversations like this. And if you loved this one, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Goddess of Light retreats, sacred gatherings in Mount Hood Village, Oregon, along the Sandy River, where we step away from the noise and remember ourselves through breathwork, Reiki-infused ceremony, sisterhood, nourishment. You can explore upcoming retreats, link in the show notes, or go onto Instagram at Siri Brooke Thornton. Find me, email me, however you want to do it. Let's get on a conversation about that. One-on-one work for private Reiki, breathwork, Akashic sessions where we can go right into your unique medicine. You can connect with me directly. And then coming soon, Zoom community. This is going to be a low-cost circle for breathwork, cacao, spiritual tools, soul-deep connection from anywhere in the world. So you can reply to this, reach out to me once again. Thank you for being here, for listening, for expanding your capacity to feel good alongside me. I'm sending you love, and I can't wait to connect again soon. Loving you.